I am Will Mejia, a conservationist from southern Belize. This is the story of how the Silk Caye went from a 1 acre caye with many trees to almost no caye with no trees.
Silk Caye is one of the jewels of the Caribbean, located just a few feet away from the Belize Barrier Reef. For decades, this caye served as a camping area for fishermen. It is a little over an acre in size, and at times, up to 20 fishermen would camp here on this small caye.
The late 90s was when you really saw that climate change was having an effect on these cayes. Before, the cayes had like 20 to 30 coconut trees. You could see it from a distance, tall coconut trees. And in the early 2000s, the trees start falling one by one, you know, and before you know it, you couldn't see the cayes from afar again because the coconut trees were gone. Although since that time in the early 2000s, the government had declared the area a marine protected area because it's such like of importance to fishermen and the growth of tourism, because it's an area where the whale sharks congregate. Even though the place was a marine reserve, they were charging entrance fees. Nothing was being done to combat the erosion.
By 2020, the erosion was evident as the island had lost about 80% of its land mass. There was very little space here to camp now. Still, nothing was being done to save the island despite the millions of dollars in collected fees and donations for management of the area.
The warmest welcome and good morning and all my special people in Belizean. This is our significant proud day for all of we as Belizean, you know. And we even got a Canadian and probably some American with a join.
Meet Ewart Garbut. Ewart is a fisherman turned tour guide and tour operator.
What this trip all about today, this is nothing when it comes to manual labor, that the brain we got to work on. That is sentimental value and what Silk Caye mean to we. And what we have done there, also what Silk Caye have done for us. And even bigger than Silk Caye, the movement where a lot of people get afraid when people show the power they have together. Because this will be the only seawall where I know about, Mr. George. They are definitely sure he knew a lot than me. I don't know if you ever say 130 foot a seawall gone up in 3 days, not out of money, but out of love. And I repeat this over and over. When you do labor for money, you get tired. When you do labor for your cars, you get stronger as you go by because all chip is in.
Ewart realized that conservation action needed to happen sooner than later. Otherwise, this precious jewel would be destroyed and lost forever. And locals and tourists would not ever have the chance to enjoy this beautiful fishing site.
So Ewart then decided to lead this charge and gather all the tour guides and fishermen who have historically used this area, and realizing now that it is a challenge to even put up a picnic table or a tent. And they responded with a lot of love. You know, they decided, look, as a community, we have to save this caye, we have to save this island, because once it's gone, there won't be any place to take our guests. So the community came together and brought a lot of resources, sandbags and rocks and everything. And Ewart, he had gotten permission, verbal permission from the manager of the reserve.
It's a great dream that's coming to reality now. For us, the main idea was to keep the island firm.
These are islands that we have known from childhood. They're pristine, they're special, they're close to the reef. It's disappearing before our very eyes, and the idea is to try to preserve it. What we're doing really is just try to reclaim what the ocean has taken away.
I've seen this island with 24 trees on it. Now there's only 3 trees, you know. I just really like to preserve this for my kids, grandkids, man.
When I see the women, for example, they're in the water gathering the rocks that the guys brought to throw to put on the land so the other guys could back it, and I see the little kids. I even have my grandson out here with me today. You know, my little niece and nephews. The future is bright.
We've been consulting, man. We've been talking, and I'll tell you further. If you video and see what we have sandbags, right? That's just the farm, what we're doing. That's just a farm work to do it as fast and efficient as we're doing. Consultation have been happening for donkey years. Today is the day that we stop just consult and the act. It's the people talking.
Soon after work began, a marine scientist working in the area stepped in and challenged the conservation efforts. Her stance was that restoration should not take place. Let nature do her thing. Not only was the Caye in jeopardy, but so were the fishermen's livelihoods.
Here comes this scientist, foreign scientist, who has lived in Monkey River for quite a while, and Ewart was like, you can go back to America, but if we don't fix this problem, where will we go? Where will we take our guests? So she was pretty powerful, and she called the authorities and said, hey, Ewart is breaking the Marine Reserve Law. And before you know it, when all these people were out there helping the entire community, there came the Belize Coast Guard with instructions to arrest Ewart.
Please allow me to read the Fisheries Act to you all so that you understand exactly what is taking place. Fisheries Act, Section 15(1), subsection D and E. Can everyone hear me?
When the Coast Guard read the instructions that they had received to take in Ewart, everyone on that island, it was just so amazing. Start telling the Coast Guard, if you take Ewart, you have to take all of us. You take one, you have to take all. So the Coast Guard professionally backed down, got back into their boats and headed out.
We know they do nothing wrong and we don't think we do nothing bad. All we do, I try put in for wheeling hands, make something happen for a positive thing for this island. That's all we do.
Emotionally, I feel looking at all these people working, volunteering, nobody's getting paid for this. Nobody's being forced to do what we're doing. We all are here volunteering and helping each other. And I think whatever we're doing is the benefit for everybody, not for one person here.
As one community, that these guys, this are their bread and butter. We have to save it because this is how we keep the tourism going in the country.
I remember seeing the Member of Parliament, the Honourable Rodwell Ferguson. He came out, and when he saw the crowd, even though technically the laws were being broken, that you couldn't do this kind of work inside a marine reserve, he assured the crowd that, look, he will take it to Cabinet for discussion. He took it to Cabinet, and Cabinet approved that the work must continue because these people must combat this erosion and they must save this island.
Now, backed by cabinet approval and support, the group continued their work with renewed enthusiasm. The crowd defended Ewart and the importance of the work that was being done. Authorities eventually dropped the charges against Ewart.
And it was just so amazing, like a month later, when everyone came out, including the Member of Parliament plus their friends, other members of Parliament, came out and was just so amazed at the work that human beings have done. Manpower, the will of the people, the will of the community. No big scientists, no big projects, no big loans. It was the will of the people.
It's beyond a dream come true. Because of the people where I know, allow me to do the first step. So it's not about Ewart, it's about people. It's those people that really drive me. That's my fuel. It don't take a lot of money, man.
Takes the people.
It takes a will of the people. This is only the beginning. It's really, words can't say anymore, really, really and truly.
It is just so amazing what a compassionate group of people could do when they come together and work together, the things that can be achieved. Ewart is not a college-educated person with a PhD or a master's or anything like that, but he had the will to work with the community. The community believed in his work, and together, that community, the Placencia community, saved the Seal Cays, which now all the tour guides are using today. Just amazing.
Toledo Exposure. You're watching BGTV.